The Dark Elves are a swarm faction focused on building up a solid economy followed by never-ending waves of attacks. Their units are not the strongest individually, but almost all of them can either cause an affliction or benefit from one. Make use of these synergies, and the Dark Elven army becomes a force to be reckoned with. Dark Elven buildings cost a lot of wood in general, but outposts are cheap and deal magic damage. All resource buildings except the Stonecutter can be upgraded for a higher worker capacity. The Dark Elven advanced resource is Echo. This is collected from fallen units, gathered by harvesters, and processed at the Spire of Souls. No workers are required for this, and it is an infinite resource. This makes Dark Elves excel at super late game situations. The Spire of Souls also has the Sacrifice ability, which will kill your nearby units so that you can gather their Echo. More valuable units will offer more Echo, but it may be wise to only use your basic units, as farming offers infinite food access. Dark Elven towers may be upgraded to Towers of Lethargy. Enemies hit by these towers will be slowed. Fortified towers are also available. The Refinery is where economic, building, and population upgrades may be researched. Let's have a look at the Dark Elven unit roster. At your capital you can train Tarantulas and Spectres. Tarantulas are your basic melee unit that spawn 2 at a time. They'll deal magic damage, making them good for defending against basic unit attacks. Don't expect them to be great on offense, but there is strength in numbers, especially when you plan to harvest the Echo they leave behind when they die, which then you can use for advanced units and upgrades. You can upgrade Tarantulas in the Forge to gain a chance to impair with their attacks. Spectres are your scout unit. They have no attack, but can cast their Mind Invasion Affliction on enemies. This allows you to see what the marked enemy can see, and also slows them down. This is highly useful in the opening phases of the game to see where the opposing heroes are, and to gain a speed advantage over them. Later on, whenever enemies are retreating from you, you can chase them down easier with the help of Spectres too. Spectres can be upgraded with the Veil ability at the Forge. Veil causes the impaired affliction in an area around the Spectre at the cost of focus. The Impair affliction can be stacked with the Mind Invasion too. This is a suicidal move for the Spectre usually, but can generate a lot of value. The Hall of Pain is the barracks for the Dark Elves, giving them access to both the Spectre and Spider production, but also 3 other units. You may train Infiltrators from here. They are the Dark Elven Archer unit. They cost a bit of wood, so you need to balance this against your expansion plans. You can upgrade them with the Blitz attack ability at the Forge, which makes them invulnerable, significantly faster, but at the cost of being able to attack. Next up we've got the tier 2 units. The Harvester was briefly mentioned before. They are the undead collectors of the Echo resource. They don't have an attack or affliction, but do have the Burst Harvest ability, which allows them to send multiple Echoes to the Spire of Souls. Normally they would collect nearby Echoes 1 batch at a time. The Spire of Souls respawns them automatically, and they also cost nil population, so feel free to use them as meat shields. To make them even better at this, you can get the Long Season upgrade in the Spire of Souls, which increases their health. Bear in mind, to get extra harvesters, you must build additional Spires of Souls. They only spawn 1 each. The Sleeper is a melee unit that causes the bleeding affliction to the target. Unlike most Dark Elven units, Sleepers make for a decent frontline thanks to their resistances. They are created at the Hall of Pain, and they cost iron. You will have to set up a heavy iron economy to afford large groups of Sleepers. You may upgrade them with the Whirling Blades at the Forge. This gives them a cleave attack, which also includes the bleeding of course. Great to hit light targets or even workers with. Once upgraded and supported by weakening effects, they can make short work of large groups of units. Scions are created in the Dark Temple and cost only Echo. They detonate themselves when they crash into enemies, dealing damage and causing the bleeding affliction to everything around them, but destroying themselves in the process. The Scion upgrade Sweeping Burst allows them to knock down enemies. An absolute must-have upgrade, as this allows you to punish any overextension by your opponent, especially when you add other afflictions to it, such as the Spectre Slows or Weakening. Plague Beetles are a fast flying unit. with the long-ranged attack. They are fantastic for harassment and are also useful in the main army, as flying units don't need to worry about getting in range due to limited terrain. They are trained in the Dark Temple and have a high food cost as well as a moderate iron cost. You can upgrade them with infectious poison at the forge, which allows their attack to cleave. A truly essential upgrade to make plague beetles perform well in fights. Basilisks are a ranged siege unit trained in the Dark Temple at a massive food and echo cost. On the bright side, they deal very high siege damage in an area of effect. Be sure to use the attack ground command to hit multiple buildings. When supported by weakening effects, Basilisks can also be very useful in direct fights. Their disadvantage is their slow speed and enormous unit size though. You can upgrade them with spew carcasses at the forge. Their attacks will leave resurrectable corpses on the ground. Lastly, the tier 3 units. The Strider is a high damage, single target, ranged cavalry unit that has a stronger attack when their target has the bleeding affliction. Other than this and their solid stat line, they also only cost iron, so you can make them right away from the Hall of Pain. You can also upgrade them with Aim for the Wounds. This will make their own attacks cause bleeding. Without this, they would have to rely on their synergy with Sleepers, Scions, or the Reaper, causing enemies to bleed. Combine their lethal single target damage against bleeding enemies with Weakening, or the knockdown from the upgraded Scions. This is one of the deadliest combinations in Spellforce 3. Emissaries of Nor are flying ranged undead necromancers trained in the Dark Temple. They have a powerful magic attack, but can also summon skeletons from fallen allies or enemies. This costs focus, and the echo on the ground will be gone also. The Rotten Bows upgrade will make Emissaries of Nor summon not only melee skeletons but also ranged ones. The ranged skeletons have more damage potential in most cases. Make sure to combine Emissaries of Nor with the Basilisk Spew Carcasses upgrade. Simply target ground with the Basilisk attacks, and the Emissaries of Nor can now summon skeletons without using the echo on the map. Twisted Ones are a demonic ranged unit trained in the Dark Temple. Their attacks not only deal high magic damage, but also burn the focus of the target. Their demonic nature makes them immune to several afflictions such as stasis and frozen, as well as knockdowns. You may upgrade them with Harvest the Weak, available in the Forge. After this, their attacks will apply a weakening affliction to enemies already suffering from the impaired or bleeding afflictions. Combine Twisted Ones with Striders and Spectres so as to weaken large groups of enemies, making them easy to snipe from there on. Lastly, there is the Dark Elven Titan to cover. The Brute Father is summoned at the Tainted Obelisk by presenting an offering to Nor. Although weaker than other Titans in a direct fight, it can summon 30 Spiderlings with the Norse Children ability around him. These Spiderlings have a timed life. You can either throw them at the enemy as a meat shield, or use them as a means to generate echo. You will have to wait for them to time out though, as they cannot be sacrificed. Additionally, every unit hit by the Brute Father will be taking damage over time. If killed, the Mark unit will explode, dealing damage to others around them. I'd like to express my gratitude to Grimlore Games who have sponsored these guides. If you haven't yet played Spellforce 3, be sure to try the free Versus edition, and if you are having fun, purchase the full game. Links are provided in the description.